Hey, how's it going? I wanted to make a quick little video about positivity. Lately, a lot of you may have noticed that I started the Touch 10 plan, and the goal of the Touch 10 plan is to find true, authentic happiness lifelong. And I found my pillars of what makes me tick and started to build around that, and it's been a really incredible experience. It's overall made me a happier person and has really made it much easier for me to be positive. And lately, because of all of these changes, people are starting to take notice and asking me, how are you able to stay so positive? And then people who I meet who didn't know me prior are like, how are you such a positive person with all the things that you have going on and all the things that are going on in the world? And so I wanted to make a quick video about a couple of things that I do on a daily basis in order to keep myself positive when things are tough. Some of the things might be not every single day, but if I'm really having a down moment, but I absolutely have a couple of things that I do every single day. In fact, at the very beginning of my morning routine, the biggest thing that keeps me positive, I would say, is overall self-care. That's the big message that I'm gonna be throwing in your face right now. It really has a lot to do with self-care, at least for me. You have to find what works for you, but these are my, secrets to staying more positive. Knowing that, of course, you can't be positive all the time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that things aren't tough, but the reality is that staying positive and thinking positive will reflect in every other aspect of your life. It really, really does. And it's hard to hear, and it's hard to swallow, and it's not easy to do these things, but as you do these little things over time, they make a difference. In the moment when you're first starting, it might not feel like there's a huge difference, but long term, you're gonna feel that really big shift. So the first 2 hours of my day are always my self-care. Those are my hours. I don't talk to anyone until I've completed that. Sometimes I accidentally slip up here and there. I'll have an important call that catches me off guard or something like that. But overall, I do not talk to anybody. I do not read any news, anything like that. I stay as positive as possible. The first two things that I do in my day are the most positive things. The first thing before anything else after I feed my cats and, go to the bathroom, I pull my affirmation card. So I have an affirmation deck, got it off Amazon. Well, you can get it off Amazon. I got it from a friend, and I pull an affirmation. I have a whole routine that I do, and I pull an affirmation, and then I have this Thousands Wave spray. It's a chakra cleansing spray, and it's supposed to balance you out. And so I will take an affirmation and I will spray myself and around the whole apartment to just clear the energy. From there, I go and I start to make my espresso, which puts me in a really much better mood, wakes me up a little bit, makes me clearer, and I set things up to medicate with my cannabis. And when I'm doing all of these things, at the very beginning of my routine of when I pick my affirmation, I have a button programmed to my Alexa device. My Alexa device will read me my flash briefing. And yes, that does have the news aspect, but I'm not reading news. These are short, brief audios that I can sort of tune in and out to depending on what it's about. But even still, the very beginning of my routine is very light. The first thing is a positivity podcast news brief, and that's the first thing I hear. It's everyday positivity. Then after that, I hear cool things in history, so that's like, I'm a nerd and I like to learn about different things that happened in time on that day in history. And so those are the couple of super light things. And then in between, within my news briefing, I have all sorts of other light positive things. So I'll have a couple of news briefs that are very heavy news related, like CNN and things like that, New York Times, and then I'll have, I'll have, just something more light, and pop culture is the term I was looking for. So yeah, I keep that positive Another thing I do when I'm really, really getting down is I go to my list. I have a friend and mentor, Noam, recommended this to me, and I'm so grateful because it's been so helpful. I have a list of different phrases, comments, statements that have been made to me recently that are just really lovely, that are very positive. And when I'm having a really hard time, I just go and look at that list and I just read over the things that people are saying so that I can change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Another thing that I do is every single night I fall asleep with either a cleansing meditation with binaural beats, or I fall asleep with these meditative stories. And it is actually incredible. My favorite channel on the YouTube for this is Meditative Mind, and then I also use the Calm app. So the Calm app is where I get meditations, but mostly I love their stories. Their stories are really what I'm all about. But sometimes I switch things up, especially when Meditative Mind puts something new out. Lately, all their different cleansings and things have just been so on point for what my needs are, and it's been actually incredible. I mean, I sleep with it. It'll be an 8-hour cleansing, and I wake up feeling so much better, so much more positive and refreshed. I would say cannabis. I try to make sure that I'm using strains that have mood boosting and are more uplifting. I can't have sativas because they make me anxious, but I will go with hybrids or an indica dominant strain that might be known for that mood boosting. So those are a couple of the things that I always do. And of course, my cats. I have my hands like this because they're both actually, funny enough, they're sitting on either side of me. And they're my emotional support animals. They're incredible, and when I'm having a hard time, I pet them. I love them, I play with them. It's a wonderful distraction. Other things that I do to stay positive are just making sure that I'm doing things that really allow me to reflect upon positive things that are happening. So I'll make gratitude lists. So those are really the things that I do on like a daily or almost daily basis. Some of those things are daily, some of those things are a little less frequent, but I do all of those things within also running my Touch 10 plan, and that's how I stay positive. You just have to turn those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. It's not easy, it's not instantaneous. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes I'll have a moment where I'm just truly inspired. It feels suddenly like every light bulb in my head goes off and something clicks for me. And I will stop everything I'm doing to just be in that moment and really process that and let myself feel whatever that is and really just be grateful that I've come to whatever, realization or whatever was necessary. So you can do it. I know you can. It's really hard. There are many, many ways to do this, but those are my secrets to staying positive. If you wanted to know, now you know. See you in the next video.